Wow, so we got the right side of the camera this morning. Really, really exciting. I figured I'd start this just a couple of seconds early just to kind of get things kind of going in my mind and get my voice a little bit working. I decided to wear my green socks again today because yay, St. Patrick's Day. Didn't get to celebrate it at all yesterday. I heard tell that there were a bunch of guys literally on the street corner with bottles of whiskey drinking to the holiday regardless of this coronavirus, which I think is just madness, but hysterical at the same time. So today I'm going to be showing you a body weight circuit. It's going to consist of 6 exercises. Yeah, 6 exercises. It's meant to really give you as much of a full body kind of experience in the morning. This is meant to be done in a circuit fashion. What a circuit means, if you don't know already, is you create a list of exercises, you go through that list of exercises all at one shot, and then you take a break at the end, you go back to the top and you do the entire list of exercises again. So that's how circuits work. It's really meant to do any number of things. Circuit training, generally speaking, is meant to get your heart rate up regardless of what the exercises are. But in this instance, we're going to be mixing in some core, some cardiovascular exercises, some straight up leg work, push-ups, and again some more cardiovascular based activity. So the first exercise I want to start out with is a plank. So those of you who have done a plank before, probably most of you have done planks before. If not, no worries. So I'm going to teach you my version of a plank. A plank for me is down on your elbows. You can do this from your hands as well, vis-a-vis yoga style plank, but from elbows is where I find the most real active core work being done. When I get down on the floor, parallel forearms, basically like railroad tracks. You want to push into the floor with your palms, create tension for your triceps. I want you to feel as if you're pulling your elbows toward your hips. You're creating tension here through the lats as well. Drawing the belly button in toward the spine in toward the belly button. You want to tighten up your quads, your glutes, get everything nice and engaged and active on the floor. You can choose to hold this for 30, 60 seconds, but just to show you what a plank looks like. So everything is nice and tight and engaged. You really want to make sure, as you're holding your plank, that you're creating a nice long spine. Your shoulders aren't up here next to your earlobes, but that you're creating a nice long sphinx-like neck, and you're pulling your elbows toward your hips, creating tension into your lats, pushing into the floor with your palms. Lift the hips up high enough that your hips aren't sagging down to the ground. Now, if you can't hold a plank for 30 to 60 seconds, not a problem. You can always drop to your knees and do the exact same work. And again, just make sure that your hips are down, your butt's not up in the air. So really, really engage there. If that's still kind of on the difficult side, you could ostensibly take a couple of pillows, prop them up underneath your thighs here, and give yourself an even shorter lever to have to support. So those are ways to regress the thing. So anyways, you're holding your plank for 30 to 60 seconds. We'll say that's probably at least 30 seconds by now. Release that thing. High knees is the second exercise I've put in the set. High knees is just as the name would suggest, bringing the knees up to about hip height, getting the arms moving. I'm going to treat this for about 30 to 60 seconds, but just for our purposes right now, I'm going to count out paces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The idea is to stay up on the balls of your feet, get the arms moving as well, keep the chest lifted, make sure you're really trying to bring those knees up to your hip height. This is definitely going to get the heart rate up. Get yourself going and going and going. And again, 30 to 60 seconds, depending on how, crazy you want to get with it. 30 seconds is quite a decent amount of time to be doing these. Also, as you're doing this, try not to let it become some sort of like a slow jogging place. Really keep it up. I know, my crazy bed hair. Whatever. She needs a haircut. And we'll call that 30 seconds. So, in between these exercises, feel free to take breaks, okay? It's not all about staying at a 10 the entire time. In that case, I'm gonna take a break. I think this is hopefully the final day of dealing with this cold. Hopefully all of you out there are staying healthy and safe in your quarantine. I know it's not fun. Take the time as you're doing this whole process with the rest of us to give each other some love. Say hi, check in, check out on your family, check out on your friends. Rear lunges, 8 to 10 reps each. A rear lunge means you're stepping back into your posterior side. So all the weight stays on the front base leg, drop back, toe into the floor, chest is lifted, drop the knee close to the floor, give yourself like an inch or so under the knee, don't actually take the knee, but bring yourself off the floor a little bit. Again, weight on that front foot, pushing through the heel, squeeze your glute on the way up. So 8 to 10 reps of this, dropping back, tighten your glute, squeeze, keep your core engaged, and your body lifted so you're not bending forward into it. You're staying nice and tall. Pick up my pace a little bit here for you. And switch, 8 reps on the other. You can certainly choose to do this in an alternating leg fashion, which makes things just a little bit more difficult by having to balance as you switch from leg to leg. Again, I'm not putting a whole lot of weight on this back leg, maybe 30% at most. Most of it's staying right here on that front leg so that you're able to balance and keep yourself up. Next up, push-ups. 10 to 15 reps on this. Push-ups, much like a plank, can be done from your knees, or if you have a sofa or a bed in your apartment, which I'm hoping most of you do, put your hands on the sofa, get your hands a little bit wider than shoulder width, put on the sofa, and push up from there. But articulation-wise, a push-up for me is creating tension between your hands. So the idea is, as your hands are on the floor or the sofa or whatever, that you're trying to bring your hands together as if they're sort of magnetically charged, right? And they're going to gives you a nice squeeze on your chest as you're doing each rep of the push-ups. So as you're going down on the floor, you're keeping that tension between your hands as you're going down. You're squeezing the floor, I call it, and then push off nice and slow. Push-ups can be fast or slow, but in this case, when you're creating that kind of tension on the floor, it's going to go a little bit slower, and that's okay. Gives you a bit more chest activation. So 10 to 15 reps, keeping that core nice and engaged, quads and glutes tight and involved with the equation. Make sure your neck is nice and long. You always want to make sure your face is past your hands for a push-up. You don't want to have your push-ups be way out here, because it's going to place a lot of pressure on your shoulders. It's going to make the push-up really quite unmanageable and perhaps even painful for your shoulders. So keep your hands directly underneath your shoulder joint as you're doing your push-ups, so your face is past your hands. All right, so next exercise up, we got side plank dips. This is a core exercise. Side plank, your elbows directly underneath your shoulder joint, palm is pressing into the floor. You're gonna bring yourself up on your side. For a side plank, you wanna make sure your chin is up, pick a spot in front of you. Focus your eyes on that spot so your chin stays lifted. Otherwise, if your head drops, the rest of your body goes out of alignment. So bring yourself up, hips are forward, nice straight line with the body from head to toe. Foot on top of foot. If this is too much, place the foot on the floor in front of you, or you can drop to your knees and do them this way. But I'll do the full version. Palm into the floor, chin up. You want to feel a stretch on the side that's closest to the floor. Sort of an expansion here, and then tighten that side to bring your hips back off the ground. So stretch, tighten, stretch, tighten. You want to keep your legs somewhat tight, but also flexible enough that they're not completely locked at the knee. Switching sides, of course. 8 to 10 on each. So, arm up, chin lifted, hips up. Hand on hip is usually the best way to do it. Or hold it here. Make sure you're getting that stretch and tighten. It's your call. If you're doing this right, you're going to feel a lot of work being done on the side that's closest to the floor for that one. Next up, we got a 90-degree squat hop. So 90-degree squat hop insofar as you're turning your body 90 degrees as you're doing the jump. So squat, your feet are hip width apart, sitting back into your heels, keeping the chin and chest up so that you're lifted in your squat. You're not bent forward at the waist. You want to try and get your thighs roughly parallel with the floor. So you're going to sit down into it. If you need to limit that range of motion, no problem. If you're feeling it in your knees a lot, chances are you're tight through here and need to stretch, or your knees are going past your toes. Try and sit back into it. Stick your butt back a little bit so you're not putting too much pressure on your knees. Jumping 90 degrees, 4 hops one way, 4 hops the other way for somewhere around 12, maybe 16 reps. So, and do a better job than I am right now of keeping your feet parallel as you're doing your squat. So your toes are pointing in the same direction and your knees are not going to buckle inward or outward. There's 12 reps. Shake that off a little bit. And that's the full set, ladies and gentlemen. So that's how this one works. All body weight, no implements necessary. I'm going to put out a list, I actually already have, on Facebook and on my main Instagram page about implements that'll be helpful for your home workouts. Things that are semi-obvious, like exercise bands, a stability ball, those big blow-up balls. Something as simple as a furniture slider. You can do a lot of movement with furniture sliders, core work, leg work, things like that with furniture sliders that vary up the movement enough that it challenges you and it has you doing exercises in a different way. Also a huge fan of TRX. I'll show you what those look like as well. Bowflex also makes these really excellent, I know there's other brands too, these excellent adjustable dumbbell sets where these 2 dumbbells sort of sit on a rack and the handles of the dumbbells are the weight selectors, so you turn them one way or the other and it selects how much weight you want to pull off the stack. And then you can use your dumbbells based on that weight. I think they go up to like 60 or 70 pounds depending on what your model is. But yeah, they're great. It's a bit of a splurge, but they're awesome and they don't take up a whole lot of space. Go to my YouTube channel, Benjamin Horan. I uploaded a workout yesterday just to play around a little bit. I've got some dumbbells, TRX, exercise bands in there. I'm going to try to keep this sort of tradition going. I'm giving you guys some ideas on home workouts. Feel free to contact me through direct message or check out my Facebook page as well. Most of you are on that. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a really good workout, and please stay safe. Please be smart. Don't overstock yourself with toilet paper. It's completely bonkers. Take care of each other. Also, when you're at the market, if you're in the US, watch the labels on the food and grocery items that say WIC, W-I-C. Those are items that are qualified for people who are on the government assistance program. In a time when our government is taking that ability away from people, it's very important that we are cognizant of the labels on the shelves. If it says WIC, stay away from it. Those aren't meant for you. Those are meant for people that need, okay? Love you all very, very much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be back here. I don't think it's going to be a 7:30 a.m. workout all the time. I think it might be a little more advantageous to do it a little bit later in the day. I've got neighbors, so I might be making a little bit more noise with weights and things. So take care of yourselves. Much love.